And Joseph had acknowledged that God even used that bad stuff that had happened to bring good, the greater good, not only to Joseph, but to Joseph's family. So it broke Joseph's heart. They had not grasped the grace that Joseph had extended to them. He repeated what he had told them before. And I read this just a little bit ago. It's our scripture for today. Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God, Joseph says? Even though you intended to do harm to me, God intended it for good, in order to preserve a numerous people, as he is doing today. So have no fear. I myself will provide for you and your little ones. And it says, in this way he reassured them, speaking kindly to them. So sometimes, on occasion, I will visit somebody in a hospital who knows that they likely are not going to go home from the hospital. Or if they do go home, their time on this earth will be brief. And once in a while, a person will say to me, even though they have been a follower of Jesus for years, they will say, I hope I have been good enough for God to accept me. And that makes me feel like weeping. I hope that I have been good enough for God to accept me. So I feel like I need to speak kindly to them, but I also need to tell them the truth. Yeah, well, you haven't been. You have not been good enough for God to accept you. You're not good enough for God to accept you, but Jesus is good enough for God to accept you. And so I'm hoping oh boy, if they never connected the dots before, they are in this moment. I'm not good enough, but Jesus is good enough. So then I share again the truth that we share and celebrate. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. I want people to be saved, but I also want them to know that they're saved. To know that they know that they know. Christians sometimes call this the assurance of salvation, although you might more properly call it the assurance of faith. Historically, that's a very important doctrine in Lutheranism and Calvinism, and there are similarities in Catholic teaching as well. But for Methodists, it's a distinguishing mark. It's a distinguishing mark of our tradition. John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist movement, he believed that all Christians have a faith which implies an assurance of God's loving, forgiving love. And that we would have that assurance. It's the witness of the Spirit. This is grounded in Romans chapter 8. You have received the Spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The same Spirit beareth witness with our spirits that we are the children of God. Oh, that the Holy Spirit is witnessing to our spirits, reminding us in a deep and personal way that we're forgiven. We're children of God, fully reconciled to God. There are other people in the same circumstances that I will visit in the hospital, and they have that assurance of salvation. So they may be sad, but they know they're on their way out. So they may be sad for the people that they will be leaving behind because they know they'll be missed. But there is this joy that is bedrock in them because they know what's next. They're getting ready to cross the threshold into the forever presence of Christ in heaven. I mean, woo, it's like nobody looks forward to the process of dying, but man, on the other side of it, it's all joy. It's all good. As another old hymn puts it, blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchased of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. Yeah, this is my story. This is my song. I'm praising my Jesus all the day long. They have the assurance. They have the assurance of faith. Joseph really wanted his brothers to get it, that they were forgiven. Jesus really wants us to get it. We are forgiven. May you have the assurance of faith. You are forgiven of every sin. No sin exceeds the grace that comes to you through Jesus Christ. May you embrace the reality. He breaks the power of canceled sin. He sets the prisoner free. May the joy of the Lord be with you. Amen. Let's pray. Oh God, how good it is. How good it is to be reminded of your deep and incredible love for us. The grace by which we know we are forgiven. Lord, we pray that you would bless us to deal well with those false feelings of guilt. Lord, we understand that feelings of guilt can be a good thing when we are guilty, and it can move us to the throne of grace. That's wonderful, but sometimes, Lord, those feelings have overstayed their welcome. And, Lord, we pray that when we find that's the case with us, well, we would praise you, banish Satan, and no longer dwell on the thought. Help us to keep our minds focused on you. Praying all these things in the name of the powerful name of Jesus.